Thank you for joining us. All right.
Hey, y'all.
That is Melba Pearson, the resident legal diva. I'm Dave Ehrenberg, Florida lawman. I'm on the road, but the show must go on. Melba, that's a cool background, much better than boring hotel. I'm
Well,
in,
that's the joys of the home office, right? But I'll be on the road next week and I will be like, let's find some good hotel lighting. What's the best
yeah, right.
background?
Well, I am in New York and doing some TV stuff up here, but I want to do a video with you with our amazing subscribers. Thank you so much. I love it. Thank you guys. Thank you. I love it that you're here. Hello, Elizabeth. Yes, thank you, Christina. Oh, great. All right. And what we'll do is we'll do this live and then I will post it on Saturday. But the thing is that the great folks who join us live get it right now because we're
Yes.
going to talk about FAFO. FAFO is not just a slogan, a meme. It's also now part of our legal vernacular. Melba, would you like to tell what we mean by FAFO and why prosecutors are talking about it now?
So, this is where I do, because I'm a huge, Marvel geek, but I say Avengers assemble, because that's what's happening here. So, 9 elected prosecutors from around the country have come together to form this group called, the acronym is FAFO, but it is the Project for the Fight Against Federal Overreach. FAFO. And so the elected prosecutors that are involved in this include Mary Moriarty, who is the county attorney for Hennepin County, which is the county in which Minneapolis sits. Another leader of this is Larry Krasner, the district attorney out of Philadelphia. Additionally, we've got the elected district attorneys out of Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Pima County, Arizona, which includes Tucson, and several folks from the Virginia squad, including Fairfax, Falls Church, Arlington, Portsmouth, and Norfolk, Virginia. So they're all getting together with the intention of they are going to hold federal agents accountable for state level crimes that occur in their particular jurisdiction. So as we know, Renee Good, Alex Pretty, they should be here today. May they rest in power. But Mary Moriarty is looking aggressively as to whether or not she can file state level charges since the feds have completely abdicated their responsibility. So,
Right.
FAFO.
Well, so you have this group of local prosecutors, state prosecutors, which now, so since people are starting to come in, Melba is a former assistant state attorney in Miami-Dade County. She's also a former ACLU lawyer. She's been on both sides. I was state attorney for 12 years. That's why I call myself the Florida lawman. So I was a prosecutor. And now in the past year, I've actually been on the defense side. Melba, wow, the grass is sometimes greener on the other side. I mean, it's really interesting to see it
Yeah.
from this perspective. Although you can see from my videos, I'm like still a prosecutor at heart, but okay. This is answering the question of what can local and state prosecutors do when the federal government is not only refusing to investigate, but also saying, we're not going to let you, states, even have access to the evidence. Now, one thing you can do as a state of Minnesota is local prosecutors like Mary Moriarty, who's part of this group, can go to a federal judge and say, Your Honor, the federal government should turn over the information because normally when the federal government is refusing to provide states with evidence, it means they're going to prosecute the case. They want to protect the integrity of the evidence. I get it. But what if it's the opposite, where they don't intend to prosecute? In fact, they want to make sure that no justice is done. They don't even want to investigate. And I think a federal judge is going to say, yeah, this is bad faith. You have to turn it over. Now, I know that people, a lot of people, when they come, when I've said this, they say, well, what if they've tossed the evidence, spoiled, they've thrown it away, the evidence is gone. And there is a ruling already, an injunction there by, is it Judge Schultz who did it? There's a judge in Minnesota, I think it was Judge Schultz, who said, no, we're putting we're giving a restraining order where you cannot dispose of the evidence until we have a full hearing. And the full hearing took place on Monday, and we haven't had a ruling yet. But in the meantime, there is a restraining order. They cannot dispose of it. Carol Henry said, "Can the people of Minneapolis bring a class action suit?" That'd be a civil suit. That wouldn't be the right vehicle, Carol. Instead, the best way to do it is for the local prosecutors in Minnesota to do their own investigation, and they can do that, and then to go to the federal judge and say, "Your Honor, order the federal government to turn over the evidence, like the car in the Renee Good killing."
Mhm.
And I think that's going to happen. But whether they have the evidence or not, they're going to, in my mind, indict based on what they come up with. The videos alone, the witnesses they spoke to. They even have an internet portal in Minneapolis for that. That's the prosecutor's office. But Melba, here's what my question for you.
Yeah.
Can you help explain what is the benefit of all these local prosecutors from across the country, like 9 of them who came together to announce we have started FAFO, this group that's going to hold the federal government accountable and ICE agents and border control agents accountable? What is the real purpose of that? What can they do at the local level united like that? Or is it more about the show rather than the go?
No, I don't think it's all of this. I think they're for real like going to do something. And number one, they've made a lot of public statements individually, especially Larry Krasner and Mary Moriarty. They've been very vocal from the beginning. Like, listen, if you're going to come to our jurisdiction and commit crimes, guess what? We don't care what badge you carry, it's on, right? But now when you have this group, number one, you've got all of them leveraging the resources of their office in order to hold these agents accountable. You've also got a network where they can exchange ideas because this is completely like, Dave, this is unprecedented. And I'm so tired of saying it because everything in this administration is unprecedented. But these are like motions that nobody in this country has ever filed before or even thought about filing, right? So they have to come together and figure out what novel legal arguments they can use. What is their case law? And of course, knowing that every state's law is different, but is there some cross pollination in terms of, well, I use this particular law here, and this is how I'm going to approach it. And then, oh, wait, let me see if I have something similar in my jurisdiction that I can use to do the same thing. And then, of course, you have the research capabilities because now you've got 9 offices, 9 sets of interns, right? Or whoever that can sit down and do research in terms of making sure there's the accurate backing from a case law perspective. And then just from a human perspective, moral support, because you're in this situation where you're drawing the ire of the White House as well as his supporters. You know that not everybody in your jurisdiction is going to be supportive of this. So, and you would be like to maybe talk to other electeds in your jurisdiction in your state who and are friendly with, but they can only be like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I got your back. Like, they can't really offer a lot as opposed to somebody else who is facing the same situation as you. And so the two of you can commiserate as well as share resources. So I think there's multi levels and layers of ways that this can be super effective.
Well, also because if you are a local prosecutor, you have never seen a motion like this. You never had to do it. I was state attorney for 12 years. Melba, how many years were you a prosecutor?
Oh my God, like 16?
And never once have we had to go to court to say, federal government, we are filing a motion to require you to turn over evidence. It's never happened before. And that's why for local districts like Mary Moriarty's district, she is new to this too, because he has no experience. So now they are grouping together to share research, share notes, because this is the kind of motion that will have to be filed, not just perhaps in this case, but maybe in others. So they're working together. So maybe there is something to it that you have local prosecutors or progressive prosecutors who are joined together in an attempt to try to hold the federal government accountable. And they clearly want national attention for it. That's why they created a name with the acronym FAFO. And also, as a separate matter, Melba, I got the answer to the question. Remember, I said there was a federal judge that put the kibosh on the federal government being able to destroy evidence. And I said, I thought it was Judge Schultz, the conservative judge, but it's not. It's actually U.S. District Judge Eric Tostrud. He's the one who issued the temporary restraining order, and we're waiting on a full ruling. And you know what's unique about, you know what's especially interesting, not unique, especially interesting about Judge Tostrud, who really stuck it to the Trump administration. What do you think?
He was a presidential appointee.
Appointed by
Appointed by, yes,
Yep,
this current
yep.
administration. Yeah.
Yes. All right, just finish up with a couple questions, then I'll let you go. But Amos 5:24, I guess that means Amos was born on May 24th, unless there's a Bible passage that's Amos 5:24. I missed that one. How do you overcome breaking chain of custody for the evidence? That's also that's also an issue in Fulton County, by the way, when they took the ballots. Like there's a chain of custody from thing. Yes, there is an issue there, but you'll have to find, yeah, they'll have to trace it. If it goes to court and that evidence is introduced, they're going to have a chain of custody. And that's a good question because that is just beneficial to the defense. If you can say, well, how do we know that it hasn't been tampered with?
Exactly. Exactly. So
Right.
it's all very disturbing, but what does give me hope is seeing our local state prosecutors say, listen, if the DOJ is going to abdicate their duty to actually pursue civil rights, we're going to stand in the gap and do it. We are going to stand up for our constituents, for justice, and for accountability. And again, that gives me hope because that tells me all isn't lost, right? There are still people who won't be like, oh my God, tickle my belly. I'll do whatever, Mr. President. They're like, no, there's a thing called the Constitution. We swore an oath to it. And FAFO, let's do this, right?
It is. And we'll leave you with this. This is a feature, not a bug of our federalist system, where if you have a local prosecutor who wants to investigate, they can do so even if the president is saying stand down. That is a beauty of our system, that no matter what happens at the local level, the president of the United States cannot affect it, cannot pardon the
Mm-hmm.
defendant here. And so when people say it'll never be justice or Trump will stop it, he can't. Now, a federal judge could stop it if he says there's immunity, but I do trust the federal judges a lot more than I trust the politicians in Washington, D.C. these days, because the federal judges, even those who are appointed by Donald Trump, have shown that they've been guardrails. And that's why I have a little more faith in the system than others, because we're seeing things like the judge appointed by Trump saying you are not allowed to destroy evidence. And we're seeing local prosecutors like Mary Moriarty saying we're going to investigate anyways. And if we want to indict, we will indict. So, hey, don't get demoralized. We That's what they all want, is to demoralize us.
Power to the people. Just remember, power to the people. We have our
Yes.
vote, we have our voice, and as long as we have those things, all is not lost. So
Yes. And
let's do
Lefty
it.
Professor, they did ignore over 100 court orders, but the judge called him out on it. That was Judge Schultz, and threatened to throw the acting head of ICE in jail. And then the administration capitulated, released Mr. Robles from a jail cell. So sometimes, yes, they will. They need to get threatened with contempt to do the right thing. But in the end, the judges have that power, and if they're not afraid to use it, then I think the administration will capitulate, will comply. So we'll see. We'll keep following it here on Substack. I'm Dave Ehrenberg, aka the Florida Lawman. That's Melba Pearson, aka the resident legal diva. Melba, tell them how they can find you, because I'm just before I subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to Melba. Melba, tell us where they can reach you.
You can find me on Substack and you can find me on YouTube as well as all socials at Resident Legal Diva. So swing on by, say hi, subscribe, hop through the comments, and also leave any questions or videos you want to see. And, I'll be happy to do some, grab Dave and do some more and keep y'all informed so you can fight for justice.